ask you some questions, easy questions. Sound good? Off we go.
Yeah, it was quite complicated. I started to learn French for it, like with a school teacher in a very traditional way, and then realized that I was spending an awful lot of time learning stuff that I didn't really need, like I was never going to be tested on grammar. It's not like I was trying to pass an exam. So I switched tact and just learned it phonetically, but what that meant is I had the scenes in English that when I was talking with the French actors, and I had to really memorize their stuff as well, so I remembered exactly what they were saying. And then I just learned the French like I learned, you know, the American accent phonetically, broke it down, worked with a French coach and just learned the sounds really. But you know, I realized just how impressive it is when an actor acts in another language. It's really hard. I'm a huge Bogart fan. I'm a huge fan of the Maltese Falcon. I have a small original poster of the Maltese Falcon on my wall at home. So when Scott and Tom called me up and pitched me the idea, I literally took a shot of the wall and sent it to them and said, "You've come to the right guy." So I was thrilled. I love this genre, and I love this, you know, I love noir. Many years ago, I was working with a studio and was attached to play Chandler's Marlowe, which is in a very similar world. So it felt like a gift when this came to me. Well, there's some people might look at it and think, right, I'm going to steer well clear of Bogart and the Maltese Falcon and sort of find my own way through it. And I did the opposite. I kind of drowned in Bogart. What was challenging for me is because I'm playing a character. We're jumping Sam Spade into the 60s from the 40s. I'm also in France working primarily with French actors. So in terms of sort of grounding who he is, it's quite difficult because you're not being surrounded by the accent or the period accent, you're being surrounded by, you know, French. So I needed to ground it. So I literally used Bogart. I watched tons of Bogart films. I lifted his dialogue from a number of films and used to have them on audio just to ground myself, because although we're playing an older Spade, it's a Spade who's sort of, you know, not living in America anymore. He's still, the origins of him are that guy. So it just helped ground everything for me and give me a sort of template to work from. Well, what's kind of great is that we are seeing Sam Spade older. We get to realize that he's been in a relationship and he was probably, you know, properly in love, you know, for maybe the first time, and he's kind of broken-hearted, and he's living in this beautiful idyllic small town in France where he ended up, and you find out how he ended up there, and he's trying to live a quiet life. And by the end of the first episode, things have happened and the old Sam Spade is sort of pulled out and he's got to start doing things again. My word to Scott all the time on the set was that I've been duped because I didn't get the hat, I didn't get the coat, I didn't get the fights, I had no gut. Like, he was playing with all those sort of macho tropes of what, you know, those kind of guys are. In the opening scene, I'm, you know, having an exam and being told that I've got to give up smoking. So really it was about taking, you know, the elements of that really classic 40s kind of PI and then just making him older and quieter and trying to not live like he used to, but sure enough, like those guys always do, they get pulled back into action. Well, that was kind of great, because the great thing about these noir characters is that everything is so contained, you know, that you go back and watch those movies and actors that play those parts, and everything is kept very, very close. They don't over-exclaim, they don't over-emote. And so in a relationship like that, where he's obviously got feelings for this girl, there's obviously a big feeling of responsibility, and but everything is very restrained, so it's not overdone and over-exclaimed. And sure enough, as the thing progresses, she starts to become more and more like him, and you see their relationship develop. There's a certain, number of jobs through a career that, are really, really special. They're like gifts, Many years ago I did the film Closer, and I'd done the original play, playing the other part. Always loved the play, and then Mike Nichols says, do you want to come and do the movie? It's like a gift. And this similarly was like a gift to get what I regard as one of the best writer-directors out there come to you and say, do you want to come and do a noir thing playing Sam Spade? And the thing about noir is that it's very difficult to reinvigorate and refresh, because we feel we've seen it all before, we know all the cliches from it. And just the very clever idea of jumping ahead a little bit and putting him in a completely different context in this sort of quintessential little French town in the early 60s, already you're sort of reinvigorating noir, even though the thing is still, wrapped up in very sort of, classically noir. We're in a totally new environment, so already it feels different and fresh.